The Elite and the House of Black are up third, Trios Championship. Don Callis is on commentary, and he's stating he is very nervous about this match. And actually did a very good promo with Renee on the pre-show about how you can't prepare for these three. They're so unpredictable, and they're also really great wrestlers beyond their personas. So Omega and Buddy Matthews start, and it's a wrestling contest between the two, and then Malachi Black is tagged in, and before him and Omega even lock up, the crowd is chanting, "This is awesome," and they saw this as a special match, which with a lot of fresh interactions for the Elite, and conversely House of Black in a big showcase spot, and it really does tell you that the House of Black have been not realizing their potential yet when you see... Like, this was as basic of a build as you could get for a trios match, that it was, hey, we're doing this match pretty much.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, though, was like purposely keeping them on the back burner so that you could get to this point, you know, because the pay-per-view is so far away and because you had to do this match on a pay-per-view. You can't just do it on TV. But you know, presentation-wise, like the House of Black, I think might be the coolest looking faction certainly in AEW, maybe in all of professional wrestling. And I think as a counter to like sort of the corny like goofiness and awesomeness of the Elite, they are a wonderful counter. I love that big like curtain, like everything about their entrance tonight with Julia Hart, who I think continues to be like such a visually like perfect addition to the group. I thought was awesome, made them just feel so big time.
I thought that they did a great job in this match, particularly on commentary, of elevating Brody King. And first of all, he had an awesome look, but they protected him in this match. Like, it took the three of them to get Brody King into any sort of a vulnerable position in the match. And the commentators did such a great job of getting over his size that I thought that they... Like, sometimes it's let's get everybody over. And it felt like there was a concerted effort, like, let's focus on Brody here. Like, let's make him a central figure of the match. And I thought he gained the most out of this trios match in terms of what he went into and coming out of it.
This was like, you know, like a giant being booked to, you know, dominate a Royal Rumble, except this was a trios match. And I think the sheer fact that you had the Young Bucks both sell the fear of being in the ring with Brody King, and not just that, having to work together as, you know, longtime tag team champions, having to pair up together and still not be enough, and needing the god of professional wrestling, Kenny Omega, for the three of them to team up against this one guy. This was like by far the biggest push and biggest spotlight Brody King has had during his time in AEW, and I guess, you know, by extension, in terms of eyeballs, maybe his entire career.
Yeah, and they credit like the changing of the tide of the match to when Brody King gets tagged in and House of Black takes over, and Omega can't execute the One-Winged Angel or Snapdragon because of King's size. So Julia Hart grabs Nick Jackson's leg from the floor on a springboard attempt, and it allows King to lift up Nick with the choke, hanging him off the apron as he did with Darby Allin. And Matt then super kicks his brother free, and a V-trigger sends Brody King to the floor. So that was one of our examples of it, taking all three of them to subdue Brody King. And then we see a pair of Snapdragons onto Malachi Black. Julia Hart is back on the apron, and after Kenny Omega ducks a back heel kick, he goes for the One-Winged Angel. It's stopped, and he misses Malachi Black and hits a V-trigger to Julia Hart, who got knocked into 2001 in her as an infant here onto the floor, just nailed onto the floor.
Well, no longer the youngest House of Black member, I think we saw by the end of this match.
Oh, that's true. Nick makes the save. They hit Dante's Inferno onto Kenny Omega. Matt's in to make the save. It's Brody King with a suicide dive onto both Bucks, sending Matt over the barricade. And it's 3-on-1 against Omega until the Bucks return. Pair of super kicks all around, and then a triple super kick onto Brody King, followed by a BTE trigger to Malachi Black. Matthews is now in for the save, and then the Bucks call for the Meltzer driver onto Malachi. But it gets stopped when Nick flips and rotates in midair and gets nailed with a Buddy Matthews knee strike. Black gets to his feet, hits the back heel kick, and they follow with Dante's Inferno on Matt Jackson, and Black gets the pinfall. New Trios champions, the House of Black. An excellent Trios match.
They finished the match with Brody King's move. They had already hit the Black Mass, but like the exclamation point was Brody King's finisher. And that's what I loved the most about this match. First of all, sign me up for a best of 7 between these two teams, okay? This match was awesome. I thought it lived up for to all the high expectations that I think we would have had for this. But my favorite thing about it was the fact that they decided to collectively focus on making Brody King a star in the body of this match. I think you have Malachi Black, who is already seen as at a certain star level. I think Buddy Matthews, he has notoriety from the WWE. And I think he's at least well known. But like in a Brody King, you in one match, I thought really kind of turned him into somebody to be feared, a giant that stands out from the other giants in AEW, and the guy that I'm actually most excited about coming out of this match. So when you look at them as a collective, the House of Black were really portrayed as unbeatable as a unit here. Their three-way teamwork, I thought, and their pace lived up to the expectations you would have for a trios match set by, the Elite and the Death Triangle as a complete package. Not only can the three of them wrestle, but they look amazing. So, you have now, like, I think the most worthy people to take over this trios division, allowing the Elite to now be able to go off in their separate ways. And I think at the very least, I hope that they build up to a rematch. Maybe in the meantime, give me Kenny versus Buddy Matthews, which is an interaction they teased but didn't give us a whole lot of. But then you build up to a rematch and add the stip that the Elite can no longer challenge for these belts as long as House of Black has the belts, and firmly establish the House of Black as like these new leaders of this division. I thought this match was great.